She called me the day before she was to defend her dissertation, and she said, "Martha, my dissertation panel, they're going to find out that I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know. They're
Mm.
going to find out that I'm a fraud, that I don't know anything, just all of the typical things that we
Absolutely.
hear, right?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my goodness, dear friend, we know that isn't true, and yet I want to validate your fear, right?" Welcome back to the Intuitive Voice with Martha Arnett and
Angela Hiebler.
hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
We are happy to be back with all of you, and we have a really interesting topic today. This was asked to us by a lovely pod listener, and we thought rather than just sort of answering it as a question, we would kind of base the podcast on it. And today's topic is going to be on imposter syndrome. Yeah, and how imposter syndrome, first of all, we'll talk about a little bit about what it is. We're going to talk about different ways that we can work with that part of us, and we will then connect it back to intuition. How's
All
that
right.
sound, Ange?
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, woo! It is.
It's
All
really
right, so
good.
it was going to be really good because this
Yep.
topic comes up a lot. I mean, I was kind of looking around. It's in a lot of podcasts. This topic surfaces a lot lately, and so I'm excited to look at it. And we looked up, and imposter syndrome is also known as imposter phenomenon or imposterism. It's a psychological experience characterized by persistent self-doubt about one's intellect, skills, or accomplishments despite objective evidence of success. And I got this through the good old ChatGPT.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great description.
Yeah, I thought so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I thought this was sort of like part 2 to last week's episode on self-trust.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because it's another iteration of that, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. As I was exploring, because you and I had a little chat, and I was like, Ange, is this too close to just the regular episode on self-trust? And you and I both came to the understanding that there is a difference, and the difference that I had to come to was when they said at the end, despite objective evidence of success. So I have a story I wanted to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my closest buddy from high school is a really smarty pants, and she went to a great undergrad, got a great undergrad degree, then went off to a really high level college for her master's degree, and then she went off to an equally high level college for her PhD in the sciences. And she knows what she's talking about. And amidst all that, she had traveled and done research everywhere, and she was just really knowledgeable about the subject in which she was researching and had written her dissertation. And it had taken her years, because PhDs do, as you know.
Yes, they do.
And so she knew a lot. And the reason I'm emphasizing all of this schooling is because she definitely had accomplished a whole lot in the academic world. And she had skills, and she had so much evidence of success. And she called me the day before she was to defend her dissertation. And she said, "Martha, my dissertation panel, they're going to find out that I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know. They're going to find out that I'm a fraud, that I don't know anything, just all of the typical things that we
Absolutely.
hear, right?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my goodness, dear friend, we know that isn't true, and yet I want to validate your fear, right?" So,
Absolutely.
because that's scary, I imagine, standing in front of a dissertation committee. My sister did it, you did it, my mom did it. Lots of folks have shared with me their experiences on that, and so I know it's a big deal. But I wanted to share that. It's such the perfect example.
Yeah.
Of course, she went up there, did it, passed it, did all the things. But that little voice, right, Ange? That little voice that creeps
Right.
in that says, you actually don't know
That's right.
what other people think you know.
Yeah. And when that happens, at least for me, it blinds me to all this, as you said, the objective data. It's like
Yes.
I've completely lost touch with who I am, my alignment, and what I know to be true, and I'm just locked in this belief, right?
That's right.
That's not even accurate.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that much in your life, Ange? Do you have imposter syndrome much anymore? Or did you ever? Or is that something we haven't talked about this really?
Yeah, I guess we haven't.
Yeah.
I come in and out of it, and this is I was thinking about this. One of the things that I have noticed, and I noticed it with my students, and I know it with noticed it with myself, is there's one part of me that says, if this comes easily to me, or like I practice this and I have competence in this. I mean, I've been doing this work like you for 30 years, right? I know some
Hmm.
stuff, but
Yep.
there's this part of me that says, if it's easy for me, it must not be important, right? Like, do you
Ooh.
know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yes.
I can just talk about neuroscience, I can talk about window tolerance, I can talk about, protocols and blah blah blah. And so that must not, because I just know it, I either assume everybody else knows it, they must know it,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so I don't know if that's like reverse imposter syndrome, or I don't know. But it's like, so I notice that part, and that's what comes up for me more these days than I don't know what I'm doing. Uh,
Yes.
on the other hand, well, no, I think it is the same thing now that I'm saying that out loud. It is the, because I know this, it must not be enough, so I must be an imposter.
Oh my gosh. I don't even yes, I think that is in alignment with the imposter, but
Mhm.
I don't even care because what you just mentioned is even more important because I think I want everyone on the pod to listen to that because we
Right.
all have these gifts. Yours is this ability to take information, like really heady intellectualized information and really break it down and you understand it like very quickly, right? And then you're able to teach it very clearly and very quickly. And that is a gift for you. That is absolutely a struggle for me.
Mhm.
And so, but I have absolutely sat in that space. Matter of fact, I remember working with my psychic mentor, Sabrina.
Ah.
And she would say, "Martha," like, I would just explain the intuitive thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
or the way that I connect with this psychic space. And she would say, "You know, not everybody can do that." And I would be like, "What do you mean?" Like, of course they can. Like, even ever
Exactly.
since I was 0, like, I've been doing that
Mhm.
thing, whatever that is. And she would be like, "No, most people I work with don't even understand what I'm saying." So, yeah, that was such a game changer for me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I learned that these gifts are often the things that we do naturally, that we
Yeah,
don't even have to strive or struggle or all those things, right? And
that's
then
right.
we can often sort of gaslight ourselves around
Exactly.
that, right? Being
Yeah.
important, being not important, or it's not, um, I don't know, for me, real enough or, yeah, important enough.
Mhm.
I think important is the word. That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad
Mhm.
you brought that up because everybody listening has those
Yeah.
attributes, those qualities, those gifts, those skills, and they may not even know what
Yeah.
they are and if they do know what they are, they don't think they're important. I love that.
Right.
Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
that, Ange.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great. We didn't know we were gonna go in that direction, but that is excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so what you have done for me and I've done for you, and like this is what believing eyes do, right? Is to accurately reflect the gifts
Yes.
back to the
Yes.
person, because it is hard
That's
to,
right.
when it's something that you're interested in, and I believe when it is your calling, your gift, your purpose, right? It's
Mhm.
not. I'm not. I have a specific gift and talent, right? That is about understanding, translating, attuning, all of that. I
Yes.
I cannot I cannot cook a gourmet meal. I cannot play the piano. I cannot, right, GPS my way out of a paper bag. But
Right,
right,
right.
so it's in those. So I think it's really important for us, and I am encouraging our listeners to really own, because I think this
Yes.
is part of intuition too, right? When you're in that place of clarity around
Mhm.
what's my purpose and calling,
Yep.
then you sort of get in the flow. And that I sort of think imposter syndrome only means that you're now not in alignment. Like a
Mm.
different part of you is taking over and
Yes.
fogging you out or something, from what you know to be true. I would say that's your intuition. What do
Oh
you
my
think of
gosh.
that?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely spot on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
We're gonna
So go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, so one of the things I've noticed in myself, and I've actually worked with this with clients, so I don't know if this will help our listeners, but oftentimes when there's a part of me that says I don't know how to do this, or my client says, I got this job and I have no idea how I'm going to do it. When we check in and say which part of you
Mm.
doesn't believe you can do it, or which
Mm.
part of you is nervous.
Mhm.
For me, when I check in, when I am feeling that I don't know what I'm doing,
Mhm.
it's usually a younger part of me. It's a
Mhm.
young part of me, and I'll say to her, "Oh, sweetie, you're not supposed to know how to do this, right?"
I was gonna say she didn't know. She didn't know
Exactly.
how to answer your dissertation
That's
questions.
right. That's right. And it's
I
not her
love that.
job. It's like, "Darling, you
That's
don't
right.
have to know how to do this.
That's
I
right.
know how to do this."
Yes.
And so sometimes I'll just say this to my internal talk when I'm like going to do a big presentation or something is reminding myself that Dr. Hebner knows what she's doing.
That's
Li-
oh
little
my gosh.
Angie, little Angie doesn't have a clue.
She does not.
Right. But Dr. Hebner's in the house. She knows, right? So it's sort of like, can you be in that,
Ah,
right? Guided
yep.
by the knowing, the place.
Yes. And so much of the work that we do with clients and our own selves
Hmm.
is is updating. It's like
Oh,
updating
yes.
our system to be current time,
Say
right?
more
I
about
was
that. Say more about that. Yeah.
yeah, I was working with this lovely client recently, and he is really struggling with anxiety. And when we unraveled it, he's mid 20s, and when we unraveled it, it went back to we discovered that that part came about to assist him. There was a moment in time where his parts decided it would be better for his system to be anxious than
Mm.
to be embarrassed.
Ah,
And so
yeah.
this this young part,
Hmm.
old meaning not current time, but this
Right.
young part said, I will create anxiety so that you will have behaviors that will then cause you to act in a particular way so
Hmm.
that you don't get, because he had many moments, whether it was sports or whatever, that was embarrassment was like horrific for him. And so then he became anxious, and he was
Yeah.
anxious instead of embarrassed. And so our work has been trying to like create this bridge, right? It's this bridge
Hmm.
from young part that really believes that it's better off for him
Hmm.
to carry this anxiety
Hmm.
than his current time self that now actually has all the tools and the external and internal supports, right? He
Right.
doesn't need to function from that old outdated system. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
No, I
absolutely.
like that a lot because I mean, part of what we build compassion for in
Hmm.
ourselves is
Hmm.
and maybe when that guy was a kid,
Hmm.
anxiety was better than embarrassment.
Hmm.
Right? Because when
Yes.
when we're kids, we have such little agency, like we're sort of stuck wherever we're at. And if I'm gonna get
Yes.
ostracized from my peer group,
A
I'd rather
million
be
percent.
anxious, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. 100% it
Yeah.
was. So we've tried to, yes, get compassion
Mhm.
and be he's almost to the place where he's almost grateful that that part
Yeah.
stepped in, right? And
Yeah.
because anxiety, there's energy behind it, right? There's
Oh,
energy, there's
yeah.
motion. It helps you, it teaches it shows you kind of the path of what you need to do.
Yeah.
Whether it feels good or not, but yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We can
Yeah.
get really compassionate for those young parts of ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
the imposter syndrome, when we do take the IFS, the parts lens, it really is pretty clear
Mhm.
that there's some
Mhm.
outdated parts that are stepping forward in those moments when we don't
Mhm.
feel like we're
Mhm.
either ready for the interview or ready for the um, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
other thing I see often, and I'm wondering if you do too, is a part or yeah, a part of us that's holding a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset,
Oh, that's
right?
so funny. I was thinking about her book, Carol
Yeah,
Dweck's book, Mindset. Yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So this idea that I'm just thinking about my client that stepped into this new job and he's very excited about it, and it's a step up. Like it is going to challenge him.
Mhm.
But some of he came into the office, with some of his anxious parts saying, I don't know how to do this.
Mhm.
And I go, of course you don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Yet. Yet.
Yet. Yeah.
right? It's a new
Yes.
system. It's a new, you'll get it, you'll learn it. But it's that sort of finding that fine line, not of, oh, of course you know how to do it. It may just be a younger part, right? That's taken
Mhm.
over and sort of blinded you. It may also be that, yeah, that thing is outside your comfort zone, but
Yep.
you know how to learn.
I love
Right? So
that.
this letting
Yes.
the quote unquote imposter know, yeah, I don't know how to do it yet, but I have confidence that I can figure it out or learn.
That's a great example and a great reminder. The book,
Mm.
that mindset book,
Yes.
that Carol Dweck, and I read this not that long ago. I don't know how long ago was it, Ange?
Yeah.
8 years ago that we met that
The
book.
coach. Yeah,
9,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the coaching thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was a game changer for me because I was raised thinking your intellect was what it was. Like your
Right.
IQ was I think that may have been the belief back then,
I think it
was your
was. Yeah.
IQ was what it was, right? And so I was the worst standardized test taker
Mm.
on the face of the earth. So back in when we were young, that was considered the standard of
Oh,
being
yeah.
smart or not.
Yep.
So I walked around with a lot of feeling not smart parts and a
Yeah.
lot of shame. And so I worked my butt off to get good grades to try to prove that
Right.
I actually wasn't not smart. But I really am not. Those are not my strengths in that way of thinking and in that realm.
Mhm.
And so when I met that book, and the book was like, you absolutely can change your IQ. You can actually, shift the way your left brain processes,
Mhm.
information. And so that was so hopeful, and it kind of freed me up, and it freed up my perfectionist
Oh, yeah.
part,
Yeah.
because that was the part that was like, will not be perceived as not smart, right? Like that you will
Mhm.
not, that you are going to. But this kind of speaks to what we were talking about before, when I really began to own and value what it is that comes easy for me,
Right.
everything changed. Not only inside of me, which was the most important place,
Right.
but also how I brought myself forward in the professional world. And I realized,
Right.
oh, this can really be useful with clients and with people that I interact with. And so, gosh, I think that's such a great
Mm.
message, even if that's not anything to do with imposter
Well,
syndrome. I just
but
think like
I
that's
think
kind
it
of my
is.
pedestal. That's my favorite thing to talk
Yeah.
about.
Well,
Yeah.
but I think it is connected because
Hmm.
and I see this with clients also that sometimes their different parts have different mindsets.
Oh,
So we
sure.
might
Parts have
bump
parts.
into we might bump into a part that things fixed. So for the listeners,
Mm,
this is a quick Cliff's notes.
good.
Carol Dweck, I think Stanford University, maybe.
Yes. Hmm.
She talks about fixed, which means intellect or whatever I know it or I don't versus a growth mindset, meaning I don't know it yet, but I have some flexibility to
I love
learn.
that.
The
Hmm.
reason I find that so fascinating is what you see with a fixed mindset is then people have zero intellectual curiosity.
Yes.
And they're very defensive because if you tell me something that counters what I think I know and I agree with you, a fixed mindset person says, well, that means I'm dumb.
Yep.
And that's too ego
Yep.
distressing. And so they won't do it. So I just think it's a fascinating topic. And I do think so with imposter syndrome, being able to say yet.
Ah,
Either this part doesn't know
yes.
how to do it or adult professional me doesn't know how to do it yet. But you know what? I know how
Yet.
to figure stuff out. Yeah, the yet is big. She also has a
I
really
think.
just side note, sorry, there's also
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
TED Talk. If you don't want to read the book, she
Oh,
has
that's
lots of
great.
TED
Oh,
Talk.
yes, she
Yeah.
does. That's
Yeah.
right. I think even though we're not to that part of the
Yeah.
talk, I think that should be the tool of the week is adding the
Oh.
word yet.
Oh, I like
Because
that.
you know what I've been playing? I've been playing with another word that's almost the exact same word with a different
Mhm.
letter. I get. Because like I came
Ooh.
home, I was like grumpy. I had to cook, or I'm usually grumpy about having to
Mhm.
cook for people in my house, which
Me
is
too.
so silly, right? Like I guess I'm like, do I actually really like to cook? I don't remember if I actually like to cook. I don't know. I've had to cook for, I have kids 22 years, but this morning I was out walking the dogs because the dogs didn't get walked yesterday and they really
Mhm.
needed a walk. So we went for a hike, and I literally said to myself, I get to walk my
Yes.
dogs. I have two beautiful dogs that are healthy enough to walk. I have a beautiful place to walk. I get to walk my dogs. And it was such a difference. So I think the
I
words
like that.
yet and get should be the tool of the week. We
I
get
love
to.
it.
So when you're grumpy and you don't want to do something, just say, oh, I get to. I get to cook for these kids. I'm so lucky I have kids. I'm so lucky that they're around to eat this. It's just such a nice shift. I also, and this has really nothing to do with imposter syndrome, but I have been watching Ted Lasso on just like on super speed. Like
Yes.
I watch like 3 episodes a night, 2 episodes a night. And I have probably seen it 2 or 3 other times before.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge TV watcher, but there's some part of me that is needing the way that Ted sees the world in this way. And I understand he's got a lot of anxiety going on underneath, but I think about, what would Ted do? Like, what would Ted? I had a really rude waiter the other day, and I was in Chicago with Corey, and I was like, I was starting to be snippy. And I said to Corey, what would Ted do? Corey's like, not say that. That's what you were about to say. I was like, okay. What would Ted do?
I love it.
So, I just supercharged myself with his kindness and his.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he ever has to like explain himself to people. He just sort of rolls through. He gets to, he gets to live his life.
And
he
doesn't have the ego thing, right? He
doesn't.
It's oh, you know something I don't know. Great. Tell me about it.
Yeah, tell me. With everything. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh, I love that so much. He gets to learn about football. He doesn't know, and he doesn't even. Yeah. So, his gifts are obviously creating a community where people love and respect each other. Like that is his primary gift. But he doesn't even care that he doesn't know how to coach. Like it's just like so great. I know it's a show, but it is so fabulous.
It's a great example. I also like get because I think it's a fabulous replacement for should, which then gets back into stuff you've said on previous pods about am I checking in with myself about what my body and my soul and my spirit really need right now versus what I'm supposed to do? And just what you said about I get to do this. Oh, and that feels different in my body than, oh, I have to go for a walk, or I have to cook dinner, or I have to, or I should.
I love that. Yes, it feels so different.
Yeah.
Great.
Really
and we were thinking about, when I was thinking about, just to make sure that we talk a little bit about imposter syndrome, when we were talking about it, we were touching it yesterday, and one of the things that I had read about when I was reading about imposter syndrome was something that does help.
Oh, yeah.
When someone's in it, let's say they're in their part, right? So we want to give folks some tools that they can actually take away. So something that helps is you're in this part. Let's just pretend you have an interview, right? And you feel, even though you do come, because I do have to say, I've never been a fan of fake it till you make it. Like I'm not a fan. I understand there's different mindsets around it, and that's fine. But for me, that has never felt solid ground. I think be where you are, acknowledge where you are. So we're speaking to people that have done the work, that are interviewing at a skill level they have, right? And every bit of accomplishment they've had supports where they are and where they're headed. And so what the recommendation was have it would be you for me, Ange, would be have a source who knows you, knows your skills, believes in you, and have them either review with you what it is, if it's a piece of writing, review your writing, or if it's helps you prepare for your interview, and ask them for real authentic, honest feedback. Right? And so that you get honest feedback. Be ready for the honest feedback. Have someone that's kind, but it's going to be honest. And you most likely will, that part of you that maybe doesn't believe or isn't super confident can take in their feedback. And hopefully that will help that part of you feel a bit more confident.
I love that. And I think those two things together that we talked about, one, sort of checking in with which part of me is feeling like an imposter. And then if it is, right, if you can unblend from a younger part, if it is the adult you, right, that is like, I don't know if I can do this yet. then
Right.
do go to a trusted friend, colleague,
Absolutely.
that will give you kind and accurate
Yes.
information. Read a
Mhm.
thing yesterday, a quote yesterday that said, "I would rather be slapped with the truth than kissed with a lie."
Oh,
And I really like
yes.
that, right? It's
I
sort
do
of like,
too.
and if I've got that connection with the person, I know that they've got my best interests, right?
That's right.
And so they're going to be honest with me. So
That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really
That
good.
feels like a good practical way to work
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
imposter syndrome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be helpful.
I think those are big ones. I mean, I don't think we need
Mhm.
1,000 tools, but I think if people
Yep.
can, just like we're doing with all of this work, as you said, around self-trust,
Mhm.
it's noticing when we're connected to that flow, to that
Mhm.
self-trust versus when we're in a different energy flow. Right. And
That's right.
you can feel that because, as you said, if you check in with your body, you're going to feel some tension versus openness.
Yes.
You might feel like you're in your head spinning around. That's mine, just thoughts, thoughts, thoughts,
Yep.
thoughts, thoughts,
Yes.
versus dropping into your body and really being in alignment. Because
Yes.
everything is so much clearer when you're in that space. And
Ugh.
as you and I talked about, my sense is that's intuition. That from that
Yes.
place, the intuitive knowing can flow in. But if I'm not in that space, I'm not going to hear the intuition.
That's exactly right. And I always go to this space of connecting with the universe, kind of
Yeah.
like an imaginative space, especially if I'm feeling imposter syndrome or which doesn't super come up for me a
Hmm.
lot anymore, probably because I stay in a lane right now. That is something I'm pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
familiar, and skilled with,
Hmm.
as are you. But what's fun for me is I was out, went for the like I said for the hike this morning, but as I was walking out with the dogs, I said to get on the trail, I said, "Universe, please, I could really use a gift. Please give me a gift
Mhm.
today," right? So then what the fun thing is for me is then I get really quiet. I had nothing in my ears. I did not bring a phone with me.
Mhm.
I literally I had a t-shirt and shorts on, and I say that because often I'll wear like SPF long sleeves and long pants, really light, but like
Mm.
you cover up here because the sun is so
Mhm.
intense in New Mexico, especially in the summer. So, but I just had shorts and t-shirt. And the reason I say that is I think the gift that came to me was I was noticing the wind and the air on
Mm.
my skin, and then I would
Uh-huh.
notice the shift in the sun. And then I would notice the
Mm.
shift when I went under the shade of a tree. And then I would notice the shift. And I was like, oh my God, my skin is such a gift. Like it was
Ah.
so neat. And when I did, and then I also noticed this big lizard, which they're all over the path. I haven't seen a ton this year, but it
Mhm.
literally sat on a rock. And what is so fascinating, and it did not move when I walked right by it.
Ew.
What is so fascinating is my dogs are the biggest lizard hunters ever. They
Ah.
didn't even see it. So
Ah.
I tuned in and I said, "Thank you." I haven't like figured out what lizard message is, but anyway, so for me, that I just got so, and then I started to think about what am I going to say on the pod and what am I going to,
Mhm.
I got to change out this rug. I always think about design elements because I love to
Mhm.
decorate or like fun clothing, or my daughter's packing for college and my brain started to go and I was like, no, it'll just
Mm.
come on back. And I did this exercise that's in one of my courses, which is called like a sensory walk. And I just started to, what am I smelling? And what am I feeling? And when I did
Mm.
this sensory walk, which really can clear out everything and connect you to your intuition, I thought, what a good practice in general. If you're feeling
Oh,
triggered, you've
yeah.
got parts of you that are in this imposter space, or just a part of you that's holding self doubt in any way.
Mhm.
Walking, the sensory thing, getting quiet, being around your creatures that you love. For me, my
Yeah.
dogs. Just kind of slowing it down, like you said last week,
Mm.
slow the STFD,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
and I think that's always we can just keep reminding you every
Right.
episode, slowing down, paying attention to your senses, getting quiet, and then for me and maybe for some listeners, playing in that
Oh,
imaginative
yeah.
space clears a lot of space, and then we can. And then if you want to work with that imposter part or whatever, right, then you've got a little space from it
Yeah.
and We can speak for it like we talked about last week instead
Yeah.
of from it.
Your gifting, I know I've said this to you, but I have to say it out loud again, is such that imaginative space and that
Mm.
creativity around that. It's so
Oh,
inspiring to
thanks.
me because I've got
Thank
parts
you.
that learn not to play. And so just
Yeah.
your the way you use imagination and play and creativity is so fun and inspiring. So I hope our
Aw,
listeners take that too.
thank you. That is
Yeah.
one of those things that I didn't know
Yeah.
everybody didn't do. That's one of the things I
Exactly.
just I thought everybody walked around and made I don't know. Sometimes I make shit up, and sometimes I think it's coming to me from a different psychic portal. But anyway, it's really
Mm,
fun. So,
mm.
And this has been a great conversation. What I love about this is we never really know where we're going to go here. So hopefully, we answered this question. I think we
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and I think the tool. What do you think, Ange? The tool is yet. I love
Yet,
that you said that.
yet, and get.
Yet and
Yet
get.
and get.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Import those into your vocabulary.
That's great.
Yeah.
And we do have a question
Ah,
of the week.
yes. The question of the week was from a lovely listener who
Mhm.
said, um, "You're always talking about returning back to intuition, but how do we remember to do that in the first place?"
Such a great question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This being human experience. What do they say? We are spirit bodies living a human experience.
Mhm.
Uh, that is why external reminders, I
Mm.
think, are
Mhm.
really helpful. Like people often ask me, "Do you read tarot cards? Do you, have a? Do you use pendulums? Do you use all the tools?" And I say,
Mhm. Mhm.
only when I feel like I need to be reminded. Actually, so for me, I surround myself, or even like candles. I've got candles that if I think to light a candle, it's the elements a lot for me too, Ange. So
Mhm.
earth,
Mhm.
whatever, all of the elements help remind me. Like today, I was out and
Yeah.
noticed how what my senses were doing. So I am a big proponent and a big encourager of if you have some beautiful or crystals, right? I've got crystals back here. I
Mhm.
don't know
Mhm.
what they do. They're beautiful, but they remind me
Yes.
of this sort of space that I love to get in where I feel peaceful and calm, and my access to my intuition is so much clearer. So
Mhm.
they're external reminders. So that's what I would say. I would say use,
Mhm.
for you could be a leaf, it could be a stick, it could be a word you put on your mirror, right?
Mhm.
Believe, like, as I'm watching Ted
Oh,
Lasso again.
right, right, right.
It could be like, go inside, or be brave, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I would say. External reminder to remind you to go inside. How about you?
Yes.
What would you say?
I will answer that, but before I have
Yeah.
to, I don't think I said anything to you about this, but when I was at your house,
Yeah.
you have them multiple places, but in one, I think it was down in the little casita, there was a bowl that had all of these heart-shaped
Oh,
rocks.
yeah.
So
Oh, they're everywhere.
they weren't like crystal rocks, that you buy. They
Yeah.
are like
Oh,
rocks
yeah.
that you saw on the trail that are in the shape of a
Yes.
heart. And
I collect them.
you've got a ton of them.
I do. I
And
have
that
hundreds.
it's such as you said,
Oh,
a beautiful reminder of kind of paying
yeah.
attention to, the sensory stuff outside and kind of an earth element.
That's
Um,
perfect. Yes.
yeah, so I'm with you.
Exactly.
I like external reminders.
Yep.
And what I find though is I need to change them up because I'll go sort of, blind to them, right? Like you get used to looking
Yes.
at the same thing and
Good
you don't
point.
see it anymore.
Yes.
So I have little, like a mini altar on my coffee table where I sit in the morning and kind of look at that, and I'll rearrange that and play with that. With clients, often at the end of a session, I'll take out a little index card and we'll write a word on it, and then they'll take that with them. And
Oh,
so every time they see that, that's a reminder.
that's
But I think it's
perfect.
important to external reminders. I think are good because we need that prompt. But
Yep.
don't go sort of nose blind to them. Like change them up so that because it's the novelty, right, that prompts us into doing something different, and we get habituated, and then we don't pay any attention.
That's right. Oh my
And
gosh.
as you have said, Martha, it is this being human thing. We are gonna fall off, and we're gonna get back on, and we're gonna
We
fall
are.
off, and we're gonna get back on, and that's the gig.
That's exactly right. And you know what also, Ange, is if you really want to get consistent and you feel like a consistent, being in a consistent space of
Mm.
checking in with your intuition on a consistent, regular basis, get a guide. Right? Get a guide, get a spiritual guide, get,
Well,
reach
right,
out
right,
to
right.
you, reach out to
Yeah.
me.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know if
yes.
you're accepting people, but this is
Yeah,
what I do. Like and I'll say, I am here to remind you what you already know.
that's right.
You already know these, but you're working with
Mhm.
me around this intuition piece because you want an external reminder about how to
That's
get
right.
inside, right, and how to do
That's
it.
right.
So
I like
that's
that.
another thing is when
Yeah,
when these external reminders sort of go dull, they lose their little sparkle. There's
get a
amazing
human.
guides out there. Get a
Get a
human
human. Right.
guide, and
Get get a
they will
human guide.
absolutely remind you. Yeah,
No,
that's
that's
great.
a fabulous idea.
Yeah,
All
thank you for
right.
that question.
Yes, great question. Thank you, listeners. And don't forget, you can send us questions at theintuitivevoice25@gmail.com. And we will
Yes,
do
we
our very
love
best to get to them. Yeah.
perfect. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. We will look forward to hearing you next week on The Intuitive Voice.
Bye. Hey, friends, you thought we were gone, but we're back. I'm glad you stayed.
If you like what you heard, click those 5 stars. And if you really like what you heard, please write us a review.
And share with your friends.